You know, folks, I remember a time when a politician could make the slightest mistake, the slightest misspeak, or just the simplest of mistakes, and their career would be completely over after that. George H.W. Bush just looked at his watch too many times during the Clinton debates, and that was pretty much the end of his presidency. His vice president, Dan Quayle, told a kid to put an E on the end of potato, and they completely laughed him out of the room. Later on, Howard Dean screamed at a rally just trying to get his own supporters excited and worked up about the campaign, completely ended his career. They said he lacked the temperament to be president. And if you go back before that, Richard Nixon simply broke a sweat during the debate with Kennedy, and that was it. That's how it used to be. But Donald Trump ushered in an era where accountability was taken off the table. And when that happened, other people looked over and they saw what Donald Trump was able to get by with, and they saw what people would accept, and they said, hey, I can say anything I want to. He's gave me free reins. And if anyone has ever completely taken advantage of that, it's Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson. Listen to this hate-filled speech he gave and watch how the people just go right along with it.
We used to meet evil on the battlefield, and guess what we did to it? We killed it. We didn't quibble about it. We didn't argue about it. We didn't fight about it. We killed it. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, what did we do? We flew to Japan. And we killed the Japanese Army and Navy. We didn't even quibble about it. I didn't start this fight, you did. You wanted to be left alone, you should have left me alone. We didn't argue and capitulate and talk about, well, maybe we shouldn't fight the Nazis that hard. No, they're bad. Kill them. Some liberal somewhere is going to say that sounds awful. Too bad. Get mad at me if you want to. Some folks need killing. It's time for somebody to say it. It's not a matter of vengeance. It's not a matter of being mean or spiteful. It's a matter of necessity. We have wicked people doing wicked things, torturing and murdering and raping. It's time to call out those guys in green and go have them handle it. Or those boys in blue and have them go handle it. We need to start handling our business again because, guys, what I said at the beginning about you getting in your cars, listening to your radio, putting on what you want to put on, and saying what you want to put on, keep thinking about it. Don't you feel it slipping away? Don't you feel it slipping away?
So, yeah, I think we owe Howard Dean and Dan Quayle an apology. If misspelling potato or just simply trying to scream to get your supporters excited at a rally, if that ends your political career and this guy still has a job, then, yeah, we owe all those people an apology. But this type of behavior, this type of rhetoric was ushered in by Donald Trump. That's why he's doing it. He saw all the things Donald Trump got away with and said, hey, let's see how far I can take it. And notice how the crowd just sits back and they kind of sit there. Some of them were reluctant to clap. Some of them waited to the last minute and finally like, well, yeah, I guess I'll clap and go along with this. I'll take one for the team. Why? There was nothing normal about that speech. There was nothing right about that speech. By sitting there and clapping at that, you're giving power to that speech. You're saying it's okay if you sit there and clap along with it. How could anyone sit there and clap for that with a guy saying that? If someone on my side of the aisle was saying the exact same thing, I'd be going, wait a minute, whoa, stop right there, pump the brakes. But they won't because they're going for it now, folks. They've took the gloves off and they no longer care. And this reminds me of a story back when I was going to school. It's kind of a funny story. But this kid was just a bully. He was just a complete, he was a complete delinquent. He was always in and out of trouble. And we're sitting in class one day and we're doing math and we're all working on it. And all of a sudden he raised his hand like he needed help. And when the teacher came over to him, he just raised his leg and ripped the loudest fart I've ever heard in my life. So the teacher's like, get out of here, go to the office. Well, I started laughing. Okay, I was in the 5th grade. It was funny. I started laughing. I couldn't control my laughter. The teacher sent me to the office too. And I was like, but all I did was laugh about it. I don't care, you're going too. So I go. I get down there. They punish the kid for what he did. Then they bring me in and they punish me too. And I was like, but look, I just laughed at it. I mean, it was funny, okay? I'm sorry. It just hit me funny. I didn't mean anything by it. And I'll never will forget what the principal said to me. He said, yeah, but we can't let kids think it's okay to laugh at disrespecting a teacher like that. So you got to go to detention too. You can't go out and play during recess either. You have to sit with that kid because you laughed at it and all the other kids think that's okay. So we got to show them that it's not okay for you to laugh at that type of behavior. That's exactly what needs to happen more often in today's society. If we would hold Donald Trump accountable for his behavior, other people would see that and they would say, you know what, we can't do these things. But no, now you've got a guy sitting there saying some people needs a good killing. People needs to be killed. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And people are sitting there clapping along with it instead of realizing the danger of what he's saying. Because when they sit there and talk about the revolution, there's going to be a American revolution, and it won't be a bloodbath if the left just goes along with it. When they say things like that, folks, you got to ask yourself this question. How is that all supposed to play out? There's not a liberal army. There's not a conservative army. So what are they saying when they say that? What they're saying is you're going to go door to door and just find your left-leaning neighbor and say, yeah, I guess I better take them out. That's what they're saying. That's why that we have to stand up to this insanity and call it out for what it is and quit giving these people a pass. Every time they say these things, we can't act like it's normal, and we can't laugh it off and go, well, that's not that big a deal. I mean, he didn't mean that, or maybe he got carried away, maybe he got out of hand. There was people sitting there clapping along. And not just the people that sat there and hesitated and clapped for that. You got to think about all the people who will hear that, all the unhinged people who are sitting back waiting to be called to arms, and they hear that, and then they'll say, yeah, he's calling on us, let's go. That's why we have to keep calling this out, folks, and that's why we cannot normalize it. There's nothing normal about this type of rhetoric, but it all came along because of Donald Trump. I will always believe that. He ushered this in, people saw what he could get away with, and now they're trying to go for the throat, and we can't allow it. We have to continue to stand up and call out this insanity because that's exactly what it is.